I'd like to have the first slide, please.
Je vais suivre. I will follow the written paper which was circulated. Now, the publication of the results of dating for the shroud of Turing through radiocarbon in this issue of Nature raised a number of questions. Either agreement, total agreement, or a polemic rejection, intentional error, or a third attitude, a third reaction was of a scientific type, since there were some questions to be asked. Now, the first two attitudes concern less the scientific attitude, a sort of passional attitude based on a bias, whereas the scientist ask himself a number of questions on a basis, on a scientific basis. Now, these questions can be referred either to results or to the methods. As to the results, some authors describe changes in the technical aspect in relation to radiocarbon, whereas others maintain that results may be true, but they're not reliable for the exceptional and unexplained nature of the image. Then another question concerns methodology. Now, methodology, well, we have to say that regardless of the results, there are some methodological inadequacies which lead us to believe that results are not reliable, and they're not even well correlated. There's a lack of correlations. Now, my report is based upon scientific considerations as well as methodological considerations. I analyzed Nature, the reviewed Nature, and the proceedings of the Cagliari Symposium. The topic at issue was dating on that occasion. On February the 4th, 1991, in Nature, the main methodological questions were addressed with the title of this article. And the 5 questions were: first of all, what were the scientific reasons for abandoning the blind procedure and the full documentation by video, film, and photography? Second question, what was the methodological need for giving the ages of the control tissues to the laboratories before the radiocarbon dating procedure? What were the detailed data of the radiocarbon tests? Then, what were the detailed data of the statistical analysis supervised by the Colonetti Institute? And then, what was the scientific reason for asserting without any discussion that the results obtained provided conclusive evidence that the linen of the shroud was medieval? A complete disagreement with every scientific results previously obtained. So, first question, which were the scientific reasons for abandoning the blind procedure and the full documentation by video, film, and photography? First of all, the blind procedure had been considered as strictly compulsory as in every scientific procedure. Now, reading the Damon article in 1989, on the day of removal of samples, it was decided to abandon blind test procedures in the interests of effective sample pre-treatment. However, a true blind dating would be feasible, as it was demonstrated in Cagliari. Now, a true blind dating would be feasible following the following steps. Every step of the protocol might be filmed according to an automatic procedure and performed during a public meeting. And only photographic lenses would be allowed to memorize the randomization code of the samples. And then the blind code would be revealed only on the final day at a public meeting after the results of the dating of each sample had been issued. Then the second question, which was the methodological need for giving the ages of the control tissues to the laboratories before the radiocarbon dating procedure. This was the second question. In the 1989 article, the approximate ages were made known to the laboratories, whereas we know that we must not publish results if they have been validated through the blind procedure. The third question was related to detailed results of the carbon measures which have not yet been published. Then the problem of detailed data of the statistical analysis, but I won't go into that. And the last question was the following: what was the scientific reason for asserting without any discussion that the results obtained provide conclusive evidence that the linen of the shroud was medieval, without having a comparison with previous results? As a matter of fact, if we read the article, the Demon article in 1989, there's no part related to the discussion of the results to be compared to every results obtained previously by scientists in the past 90 years. So in any scientific article, usually there is a section, a part related to the ongoing debate, or a debate is opened so that it is possible to question the reliability of certain techniques. So we expected to have a clarification on the dating topic at the Cagliari conference, but unfortunately this professor couldn't make his presentation, his report, so we had to read the proceedings of the conference. There was an abstract in which Professor Hall made it clear that the main problems at reliability level for the dating were of historical nature. This is the abstract of his paper, but unfortunately he made no presentation. Now, despite the correspondence published in Nature, which takes up these 5 questions, despite this, it was not possible to solicit to have an answer from the authors of an article. This is surprising because the questions were relevant. This was recognized by Nature Committee, which published this letter containing the 5 questions, and yet the questions, despite being so important, were not considered, despite being of crucial importance to go on in an archaeological project, the dating of which has not yet been established. At present, the international community of scientists interested in research on the Turin shroud is still waiting for answers. So answers will be fundamental for us to plan further studies on the basis of these responses, these answers. So a new dating has to be performed based upon a very stricter protocol, offering all the methodological guarantees needed to the relevance of the results, to have undisputable results. The samples to be dated might be questioned. Now, as to the shroud, there is a reservation of the samples that taken in 1989 must be used. But it is interesting to have a dating work both on the preserved samples and on the new samples. As to control tissues, other samples should be taken. Conclusion: from the methodological point of view, the methodologist does not argue that the result of the radiocarbon dating performed in 1988 is false. But he points out that no sufficient guarantee has been offered so as to conclude that the results are precise. There are still some open questions about the methodological aspect of radiocarbon dating, and this should urge scientists to plan further studies on this topic, since the results published must be reproducible as a rule in scientific procedures. Thank you.